What's good, my people? Welcome into Buckets Action Network's daily NBA betting podcast. We're in the workshop Tuesday NBA slate, and I got the regulars with me. J Money is Money, AC the Analytics capper, Albert Nguyen. We're going to break down Game 1, Pacers, Celtics at TD Garden here coming up. Also, don't forget it. We are presented by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Go download the Action Network app. Everything you need to know about sports betting is in there. Also, go subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. I think you can get and pull a lot of things out of the video that you don't necessarily get from the audio. So go subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. All right, you know the deal. We get the play, we get the cap, we get you guys out of here. Game 1, Indiana Pacers, Boston Celtics, Eastern Conference Finals. We knew the Celtics would be here, J Money. We weren't so sure about the Pacers, but they are locked and loaded and earned their way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Give me your best bet for Game 1.
I'll take Jayson Tatum to get 10-plus rebounds.
AC, the Analysts capper.
I'm wearing green. Give me the Boston Celtics -10.
Since we're in Game 1, I'm going to go ahead and give out a series play. I'm going to go over 5.5 games plus 145 is the best number that I've seen in the market. All right, J Money. Prop J in the building. Let's talk about it, and then we'll get into the game and then my series play. J Money is Money. We're both exposed on the Celtics to win the East. You mentioned that prior to us getting on. Talk to me about why you're pinpointing Tatum here on a juiced-up prop to have 10-plus boards in Game 1.
Yeah, I kind of like his under points. I do feel like Nesmith has been he's a really good matchup for Jayson Tatum. But if you've noticed in what he's been doing, especially without Porzingis out there, Jayson Tatum has been hunting boards. I mean, he's been guarding the worst shooter. He's probably going to be guarding Nesmith as well on the other side, which Nesmith is a horrible shooter, but he's kind of just doing what Luka used to do and guard the worst shooter and then stand by the basket, make sure he's getting those easy boards. Just something I noticed. And I think when you're watching the games, it's something to really pinpoint some of these guys that are getting some of these easy rebounds here. But if you look at it, like I say, with no Porzingis, in that last series, the 5 games out of Cleveland, he cashed this one 4 out of 5 games. He's averaged 10.4 rebounds as well. And even taking it back to the last 3 games versus the Miami Heat as well, Jayson Tatum has had 10 or more rebounds in 7 of his last 8 games. The only game that he didn't have it in was that 118-94 loss versus Cleveland in that one. So I feel like this is my spot here. I rarely ever lay double digits in the playoffs. I do lean to the Celtics in this one, but with me just needing them to win this series, I don't have to play a lot of spreads in this one. So I'll be looking for to play some props in this series. For the first game, I'll go with Jayson Tatum to get 10 or more rebounds.
Really quick, on that note from J Money, because I'm also on the Celtics. I've mentioned multiple times on Buckets and on my socials everywhere on Action Network, is that my biggest bet of the year was I bet the Boston Celtics to win the East right around even money. And I said, this is the time to bet the Celtics. You're never going to see them on the other side of a plus side again. Now, my opinion, what you don't want to do in sports betting is if you are coming into a series and you have a spot to make some money, and for me, my biggest spot of the year on the Boston Celtics, I don't want to eat at the potential profit that I have coming if they win the series game by game. And I think that's something that is a lesson. It's like, hey, if you know you're in a really good spot to catch a ticket on the Boston Celtics and you're not sure about these game-to-game numbers, why eat up that potential profit that you're going to make if you just need the Boston Celtics to win? So I hear J Money through and through on that point. AC, any thoughts initially on what I guess what we just laid out and Tatum to have 10-plus boards to kick off this series?
No, I think that's a really good look, Jay, because the pace is going to be quick. So there's going to be a lot of shots, a lot of opportunities for rebounds. And Jayson Tatum you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he's struggling a little bit in terms of his offensive scoring output. So he's doing other things, especially rebounding. And Jay mentioned it, 7 out of the last 10, over 10 rebounds. And he is kind of their de facto main defensive rebounder, right? Because Jaylen Brown's working it and getting out on the break. So I like that look a lot. And it falls in line with my look on Boston.
Yeah, in the playoffs, he's averaging 10 boards. This is what he has been doing throughout the postseason. The interesting thing is, Jay, because I had some rebounding plays last night at the Garden, it's tough to get rebounds if motherfuckers don't miss no shots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's a fact.
That's the only thing that could potentially make this a little nerve-wracking is that I've never seen a team shoot like that. I was live in color. I was sitting there watching, and I was sweating a Precious Achua rebounding prop. I got a really good number. I really liked it.
Sean,
And
tell
talk
me,
to me.
tell me you had Josh Hart under his rebounds with that injury. Because they had
So
his shit at like 11 and a half, 10 and a half. Tell me you had under on his rebounds.
I didn't, but no bullshit, Jay. I'm sitting in my seat and I see OG Anunoby scoot out onto the floor. His feet are rubbing the floor like he's got on like roller skates. And I said, this man can't run up and down the floor and play more than 15 minutes. So those
Yeah.
are the type of things you like. I mean, I don't care what the market is saying. If you see a guy in warm-ups and come out on the floor and he can't move, might be an opportunity for you to take his under. So I did get a little money down on his unders prior to that, but man, I couldn't fade Josh Hart, man. He looked super. I watched him in pregame. I was talking to AC and a couple other people, Raheem Palmer. He just looked very normal in pregame warm-up. He looked like he always does every single game, so I didn't want to fade him. But when I saw OG come out and his whole leg was all triple wrapped up, I said, yeah, you can go ahead and start this game if you would like, but he won't play too long. But yeah, I like that look from Jayson Tatum. That's how he's been impacting the game. If as long as the Pacers miss a couple shots, and this team doesn't want to rebound. That's not what they want to do. Like Jay said, I think there's going to be a lot of really easy, uncontested rebounds that Jayson Tatum will be able to pick up. And if he can pick up some contested, he should be right in the double-digit range like he's been all postseason long. All right, AC, let's get into the side, and then we'll talk overall about the series. We know the numbers, and I'll give them to you here. Teams coming off of game sevens, and they have to play a game one. This is for the Pacers, and the Timberwolves also fall in this category. This is the last 20 years. 15-32 straight up, 16-30-1 ATS. They don't have success in game ones. Pacers are coming off. The only thing I will say is Pacers are coming off 2 straight games that were relatively easy for them to get W's in. So that is something to keep in mind. It's a little bit different when you go out west. When we talk about the Timberwolves coming off that game 7 in Denver. But AC, talk to me about the side here. We know the Boston Celtics have been rolling in the first half, full games here in Boston.
No, first, Sean, I want to give you the assist because once you told me that OG and Josh Hart were trying to play, the Pacers were my biggest bet of this NBA season. So appreciate the assist. Next time I'm in New York, drinks on me. But for this game, you mentioned it, right? Game 7, teams coming off of that, all of that. But if you just look at the past history, and I know this is regular season, but the Celtics have scored 129, 131, 118, 112, and 155 against these Indiana Pacers. I know the Boston Celtics, we like to talk about 3-point variance and all that kind of stuff. If they're missing threes, the game is going to be close. The thing is, they're going to get wide open shots all game, all series long, because that's just how the Pacers play defense. And coming off a game where the Pacers themselves shot like 1,000% from 3, it's a great fade spot. I like Boston. I know there's going to be a little discussion about rest versus rust. I don't believe in it. I think Boston, I'm not worried about Boston being rusty. I think they know who they are. They're an elite team, and when they're hitting threes, they're basically unbeatable. They're going to play the same way. I think they're just going to blow Indiana out. And Indiana on the counter is going to be, well, if it's a 20-point game in the fourth, I don't think they're going to try to go for it, right? They're probably going to rest their guys and look toward game 2. So I like Boston early and often in this game. I like the first half and the full game, but officially I'll be on the full -10.
Yeah, Jay Money, talk to me. Do you feel the same way? Because look, I think at points in that Knicks series, the Pacers defense looked a little better than it probably is because they really just had to slow one guy. That was they had one guy they could focus on. That's not the case when we're talking about the Boston Celtics. How you feel about that? That I know you said you don't like laying double digits and you're in a good spot on the series, but talk to me about the overall mentality coming into game one, and then it'll kind of bleed into the series as well.
Yeah, I lean towards the Celtics game one. It should be a smack city spot. Obviously, fading the Pacers coming off a game seven win. You wonder how fat and happy they are after, you know what I'm saying, getting to the finals. We knew that, I mean, the Knicks, we can't say the Knicks were supposed to belong there. They were just too hobbled. You see what I'm saying? But I still feel like it was going to be Knicks, Celtics basically the whole year. Obviously, it would have been a bigger market, for the NBA as well, but just way too many injuries, as well. But I mean, the Pacers are a scrappy team, man. But I guess the reason why I lean the Celtics because each game ones they've came out and sent a message. Like I like to follow the patterns. What the Celtics do, come out, blow them out game one, and then game two they're kind of like, oh, okay, we can relax. And then they've lost game two both series. You know what I'm saying? That's just been the script. And then they've won the last three and end up winning both series 5-1. So I don't. I mean, they both win both series 4-1. So the Pacers might be able to steal two games here. I am one to think that like when I'm actually hoping the Knicks to go up against the. I know it sounds crazy, Sean, but I'm hoping the Knicks go up against the Celtics, knowing that they're banged up, knowing that they have less players, because the Pacers are a deep squad. And I know this is a young team, and I know that we're not really giving them much of a chance to win the series, but like you could argue that they have the better bench here. Obviously, Celtics have the better starting five, but the Pacers are a deep squad. You got guys like TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin coming off the bench, giving these guys energy. And we can't even forget, this team is still missing Benedict Mathurin as well. I feel like that's something that a lot of people forget. You see what I'm saying? So the Pacers are not a bad team. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to like hang with the Celtics. Maybe not game one, but I do like your series play there, Sean, of going to over 5.5 games. Because I could see this Pacers still in a game or two in this series, but definitely shouldn't go past 6 games. But I just want to say that like the Pacers it's not going to be as easy as everybody's making it seem. They're playing some of their best basketball of the season right now. Carlisle's a great coach. He's coaching them up. Obviously, when Halliburton has a great game, like, I mean, the team can be really scary. We can't forget that the Celtics are missing Porzingis as well for his first couple games. So I probably would be going ahead and lay the double digits if they had a full squad here. But without Porzingis, I'm just going to go towards my Jayson Tatum prop. I think they win. They should cover the spread as well. But I'm not laying the double digits here.
Yeah, I hear that. And let's get right into the cap for my play. I like over 5.5 games in the series plus 145. I think that's too much value to pass up when we're talking about pushing the series to 6 games. Now, let's just be honest on what goes on with the Celtics. We know this for a fact. They give up a game. They just flat out will hand you a game in the series. They've done, I'm talking about years, and there's years and years of this. This is not something I'm just pulling out of thin air. We just saw it in the first 2 rounds where, well, Miami just absolutely shot lights out. But in the against the Cavs, they almost dropped a couple games versus the Cavs where they had to kind of put it together and close out some of the games. So they will hand you at least one game here in the series, going back to multiple games last year when we're talking about them versus the Atlanta Hawks. We can go on and on about how they play with their food and necessarily don't take care of business game in, game out. And I think that is the one thing that does make me nervous about Missoula is seems like he hasn't had those boys locked in every night. There's one thing you can say what you want about Tibbs playing guys and rest and all that. Those dudes mentally were locked in and ready to play, though. Knew their assignment, knew what they wanted to do. We could talk about the rest and the minutes and all that. And I think people got that shit way wrong. If you go back and look at the minutes before he lost all his guys, they were regular rotations. None of his guys were leading the league in minutes. They were playing the same amount of minutes as all the other superstars in the NBA. When he lost a bunch of guys, then the minutes did start to ramp up and things started to go crazy. But that's when they were pushing, for the best seed in the East that they could have. But that's what makes me a little nervous about Missoula is that it seems like some games, they're just out there lackadaisical, just lollygagging like this shit's not the playoffs. So I'm confident that the Celtics will give the Pacers a game. And offensively, they could run you off the court in a game. Just flat out what they did at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. They shot 67% from the floor. They were shooting 80% a vast majority of the first half. I'd never seen a squad shoot like that before. So they can offensively get really hot. And Jay laid it out as well. TJ McConnell off the bench. A guy that's getting no love is another dude, Isaiah Jackson. Unbelievable minutes in that series against the Knicks. Every time he was on the floor, he was extremely impactful. And there's going to be games where Tyrese Halliburton isn't aggressive. We're going to be asking questions about this dude being a front runner. And then there's going to be games that he's going to show up and be like, man, this dude is one of the best players in the NBA, top 10 type of guy. So they play really strong at home. They haven't lost at home. I want to say they haven't lost at home in like 6 weeks. They haven't lost at home in a long time. They're undefeated in the playoffs. So I'm confident that there's going to be some stretches where the old Boston Celtics, what in the fuck are they doing, is coming out of my mouth while I watch this game on the couch. And I think the Pacers should be able to get a couple games. You could bet the Celtics in 6. I've seen that as high as plus 400 in the market, but I think plus 145 over 5.5 games is way too generous. So I'll lock that in, especially at that price. Jay, I know you kind of laid out your thoughts overall on the series. AC, I'm going to come back to you. Talk to me about this over 5.5, the spot, and just the series flow.
I think that makes a lot of sense because you're right. Boston does give away a game at home, even right, not only on the road, but sometimes they don't even show up at home. So I get that. It makes a lot of sense to me. I do think Mathurin is a bigger loss in this series against athletic wings that Boston has compared to what New York has. And I'm not just talking about like the scoring aptitude of Tatum and Brown, but just the athleticism. And Mathurin, Benedict can hang with those guys. Now you're gonna have to rely on, even though he had a great series, Isaiah Jackson, and you mentioned TJ McConnell. I think that's spot on because the offense for Indiana does really well with TJ, and he also stabilizes some semblance of a defense for them because he doesn't have any issues switching, even though he's always going to be playing someone bigger than him. So props to him. I think it'll be a good matchup between him and Peyton Pritchard. But I am zeroing on one pacer to have a really big series, whether it's to extend the series or have big scoring nights. But I think Miles Turner will be having wide open 3-point looks all series long because I think Boston's going to collapse too much. Both of these teams have really bad defensive principles. When they try for a quarter, that's when they win. So it's really like which team's going to try hard on defense for a quarter. But one last thing is you mentioned Boston, not being serious, lollygagging, going through the motions, even though it's the postseason. I feel like that is not who Drew Holiday is. I'm waiting for Drew Holiday to call out his teammates when that happens, right? Because you brought him in to bring in this like championship caliber player, and I love Drew Holiday. I don't want him to just lead by example. I want him to call out Tatum, call out Brown, call out all of those guys for not trying, because from a talent standpoint, we all know where Boston is, and they should be blowing out everybody.
Jay, any thoughts on that? We know how you feel because you know where I'm at. I feel like there could be a lot of people calling out a lot of people on the Boston Celtics, but I do think they get a little extra flack because they win 15 in a row and they lose a game, and then everyone wants to chirp and say how they're this, they're that. But the vast majority of the year, they were sensational and they were burying people. Some people are worried they haven't got enough resistance throughout here to start the playoffs, but let me ask you this, Jay. Is Drew Holiday in the position to even perk up and chirp that much, or would that rock the boat and it's not something that maybe he should do? Because I agree with AC. I mean, there's some they don't have like the vocal guy. They don't have a guy that's going to call other people out. Jaylen Brown kind of toes the line a little bit, but Jay, any thoughts there?
I mean, I think he could be. Obviously, has a championship under his belt. I think it's what the Celtics have been doing this year has been a collective thing. They don't have to have that one guy. They know the task at hand. They've gotten kicked out of the Eastern Conference Finals. I think 2 of the past 4 years or past 5 years. So I mean, they know what's at stake here. They know why they went and got Drew Holiday. I mean, this is a championship caliber team. Jayson Tatum, I'm not sure. I mean, I know he hadn't really been struggling scoring, but he's been like pinpointing when he needs to score. But this team knows what at stake in this particular series. I don't think any one of them need to have a pep talk. But actually, interesting enough, it's actually been Joe Mazzulla has really taken another step. We know last year he took the reins of the team a little bit unexpectedly. Obviously, with everything that happened with Udoka, they're coming into this year full training camp, knowing their guys who they have to have. So I actually like what Mazzulla is bringing to this team. He's actually kind of a hard nosed type of guy. I think that he's really turned his team's mindset around. And obviously, sometimes they can F around, but as soon as after that game, you see them F around, what do? They come, like, you find out. Like, they come back, all right, we lost one. All right, let's go ahead and smash these motherfuckers. So they do need that game to where they get punched in the mouth to just like, you know what, let's go ahead and finish this out. You know what I'm saying? So obviously it's not, every team is not going to sweep everybody, but I don't think it's on the players this year. I think Joe Mazzulla is that guy that's holding the team together. And personally, I don't think Drew Holiday will have to say anything. Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, they know what's at stake, and they're getting a fucking ring this year.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we might have to cut that, so we don't want to put Jay out of. No, I just wait. No, I agree, man. I look, if not
They
now,
better
win.
win.
If not now, win for the
Then
Boston
win.
Celtics.
Yeah.
That's
No
a
doubt
fact.
about it. No doubt about it. All right, to recap, J Money is money. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Boston Celtics, Indiana Pacers. He's taking Tatum 10-plus boards. Get the best number you can out there. It's a little juiced up, but try to find the best number you can. AC, the analyst cappers on the Celtics, laying the full 10 points. He thinks it's a runaway. I lean that way as well. I'm going to give out the series over 5.5 games here in game 1 plus 145. For AC, the analytics capper, Albert Nguyen. For J Money is money. I am your host, Sean Little. We are presented by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Go download the Action Network app. Go tap in with the WNBA podcast. That's now in full swing with Maria Marino and Jim Turvey and the rest of the gang. Tons of stuff coming out on the writing side from Matt Moore, of course, Michael Fiddle, and of course, Brandon Anderson. Go check out all that content. Until next time, aka tomorrow, let's get buckets.